Okay, thank you very much, Stefano, and good morning, everybody. I'd really like to thank you very much for having me here. I'm very honored to be a presenting speaker in your symposium that has been running for 19 years, I believe. Okay, the idea here in my presentation is basically to give you a very practical problem, and from there see what can we do with fracture mechanics concepts. The difference maybe is that there is a must for an answer in this problem. So we cannot say that the science is not yet developed and we have to wait 4 or 5 years to give some answer. We have to make some estimation, and this is what we need to do. I don't want to give you a crash course on petroleum engineering, but maybe for you, for some of you, maybe something that you've seen before. These are not birds, but are ships floating on the surface of the ocean. This is the seabed. And basically there is oil down here that you need to bring up all the way to the surface. Sometimes you have distance of, say, about 2,000 meters. So you see you have to bring down all kind of line pipes. One of the ways to do that is to use the so-called reeling process of installation. In this way, what we do is that pipes are welded onshore, reeled onto a drum placed in a reel ship, reeled off, aligned, and straightened in the installation place, and of course we see severe plastic deformation and multiple reeling cycles. Just to give you some very brief sketch here, this is the ship, this is the drum, so you put first the welded pipes inside this drum, which is about 16 meters in diameter, and then when you are at sea already, you derail the pipe if you want, or dereel it, straighten it a bit, go through this other wheel, and then straighten it and make the pipe go into the ocean. The reason why we do all this and have to develop this technology to imagine to weld the pipe and put it around a drum like this, which is not very easy to imagine unless you've seen it, is a very simple thing. And that is, the other way to do that is, of course, to take all the pipes inside your ship, have here a vertical tower, and put one pipe after the next and weld the pipe one after the other about 200 times to get to the end of to the bottom of the ocean. One little problem is the rental of this ship is about 400,000 euros a day. So anything you have to do to speed up this is very important. And because of that is that people do all the operation that I just mentioned of reeling these pipes. Of course, if you look at the little element on the body, on the pipe, the longitudinal strain that you would see, or that little piece of material will see, is, say, 0 first. When you put the pipe around the drum, you have a deformation of about between 1.5 and 2%. Down to 0 again, you pull the pipe straight, go up to the second wheel, that is the aligner as we call it. It's a little less than 1.5, come down to about minus 0.1 or so to have the pipe finally straight again. If you look at the stress-strain curve of this, that will go from 0 to number 1, then to number 2, then to number 3, and then to number 4. So basically we are seeing 2 deformation cycles under normal operations that the material has to see. Well, this is just a sketch, just to know where we are. This is the pipe, of course, and this is a defect that we will have to introduce there of depth A and total length on the surface to C. Okay, so the problem that we have, and this is all what we have to resolve here, is given the pipe geometry, that is radius, thickness, and so on, material properties, all the material properties you want, specific deformation history, including several cycles, and I repeat several because I show you just 2, but there is a so-called contingency installation procedures. That is, if you have already the pipe in the ocean, maybe there are some bad weather conditions of the ocean, so you have to retrieve the line through the 2 wheels back again, so that puts not just 2 deformation cycles, but several deformation cycles. Not that many, say about 10 to 12, no more than that, but still it's much more than 2 obviously. And basically this is the problem. That's it. What we need to do is simply to predict the crack extension that you will see for a given defect size, and from there determine the maximum tolerable defect size. Of course, we have to give some sensitivity of the answer to material relativity. And as I said, we must answer this in some way. To do the best we can to come up with the maximum the tolerable defect size. And this is what I'm going to show you. This is work that we have been doing for some years now, and of course some other investigators are in the same problem. Basically, just looking at the problem, from what I just said, there are 2 aspects of the problem that need to be considered. And this is theory. You see that you will have some elastic plastic crack extension, and you have also low cycle or ultra low cycle fatigue if you wish, and you have to see a combination of both. That is, both mechanisms needs to be studied. Well, just to start very slowly, say, one sentence that you see very often in the literature that we believe is a little misleading and mistreated and misissued sometimes, and needs careful consideration, is this: the effect of previous strain history on toughness. And this is what is that we mean by that. We must differentiate between deforming a body, introducing a crack, and then determining the fracture toughness, which is what you usually find in the literature, from what is happening here, which is something different. That is, if you have a crack from the beginning, impose a certain deformation, and then another cycle of deformation, and see how the toughness evolves with the previous deformation. So it's not the same, and that means that many of the literature results that you can find are not really applicable to this problem. The problem then that we need to address is the obvious fact that the stress-strain relationship is not unique in the sense of the unloading. The applied fracture mechanics parameters are not clearly defined. Of course, the J, the so-called J integral, the applied side of J, loses its meaning, as we all know, for unloading cases. And in some way, both the J applied and some kind of a CTOD applied to delta phi are not clearly defined in the sense of the applied side for calculation purposes. That is, if you have a J as a function of crack length and load, or J as a function of crack length and displacement, they both must agree. And in this case, since the load displacement or stress strain characteristics is not clearly defined, because it's not unique, then you cannot use the regular equations to do that. Of course, we also, as I said before, we need to see how the material resistance curve, we call it material fracture mechanics, J or CTOD versus delta A evolves. That needs to be known, as I said, again, instead of the sentence that I mentioned before. The task then that we need to go through is basically select a parameter to describe the problem, propose a rule or model for the evolution of these parameters through the cycles, and then of course predict the crack extension at each cycle and determine the maximum defect size. In this approach that we took here, we feel that J does not seem very convenient because of the limitations that we use. So we are focusing on what we call a CTOD approach, because it seems to be a better choice due to its clear physical meaning upon unloading criteria. So at least we need a model to predict the evolution of the CTOD with deformation cycles too in principle, but we will see how we can add several ones to this step. In order to do that, we went back to the literature, and of course, who else? We found some very old paper by Rice, 1967, where we basically proposed that you can do something with the unloading for specific material constitutive equation, the kinematic hardening approach. If you have around the crack tip stresses, strains, and displacement given by some functional dependence like this, sigma 0 and some function of R, distance over A, angle, load, and yield, and so on for the rest, he proposed that if we were to unload from some load A to a load B, that is we will see then that the sigmas will be decreased by the delta sigma, the epsilon by the delta epsilon, the mu displacement by that delta mu, in a way that the functional dependence will be the same as what we had before, except that you should replace the loads by delta loads everywhere, and also, if we are using this kinematic hardening, that simple rule of multiplying by 2 the mu will do. So with that, you are able to calculate what are the stresses, strains, and displacement up, after unloading. And of course, obviously, one particular displacement that we are interested on is the CTOD itself, that can be seen as a mu2, which is R taken at R equals CTO, d/2. So with that then, what we say is that if we have a CTOD at load P, is given by this type of relationship, when we go after stress reversal from a load P to a load B, lower than A, then it's very simple to calculate the CTOD at that point A by taking the 1 and A and reducing it by this amount delta CTOD going from A to B, which is, as I said, is given by this relationship, as I mentioned before. This is a little busy slide, so I suggest that we concentrate first on the right hand side. This is load displacement record, very popular to many people. So if you go from 0 to A, that is the loading part, and then you go from unloading from A to say some point x1, what we are saying is that you need to calculate the CTOD here, and you will have to decrease that value by some amount to get the CTOD that you have in this point. How you do that? Well, you can use the CTOD based on the fact that for many practical cases, CTOD is related to the deformation J, that is deformation theory J, based on loading part only. I will call it Fj here if you simply substitute the sigma by delta sigma. So in other words, if you want the CTOD here is the same as calculating it here in A, and then consider that you have this other axis, that is, you are rotating the axis in this way, and you are calculating a CTOD if you were to start from here going all the way there. Okay? If you are talking about the J and you are going to base your CTOD on a J type of formula, then you simply need to calculate the area here, and that will give you a J, which is not quite a J, and you can translate that to the CTOD on a regular basis. Let me explain in more detail, but this is basically the same. And then, of course, if we reload, we do the same thing again. For the CTOD at point x2, you will have to have the CTOD at point B and add the difference of the delta CTOD going from B to A, and you repeat the same operation. So with this very simple model, we thought that we were in a position to predict this evolution of the CTOD to a practical extent, of course. And in order to prove if we were right or close to, or right enough, say, for this purpose, we did some experimental work just to determine the evolution of the track driving force, no crack growth so far, under complex plane history. We took a particular material that is one of the ones that we use for this operation. The tube is 355.4 times 22.2 millimeters. The yield is 476 megapascal. The yield, the tensile is 565. Elongation 33% about. And the weld metal, remember this is a weld piece, 552, 672, and 332 about. These are some details of the welding procedure. I don't want to go too much into detail because we have a lot of things to cover here. But what we did is use the very commonly used single-edge notch tension specimens that are recommended by the standards to do this type of thing. The reason to do that is because it simulates, or supposedly simulates, the constraint. There was some question there before regarding the constraint. It is believed that the single-edge notch tension specimen simulates the Q factor, if you want to use two-factor fracture mechanics approach. It simulates pretty decently the behavior of the pipe, the pipe in bending. So this is the CTO, the same specimen. We measure there the CMOD, we measure a CTOD that is very close to delta 5 because we actually measure the distance between 2 points from both sides, and of course we also measure the remote deformation. And this is just an example. This is a log CMOD curve. We went all the way to 1. We did have some little bit of track extension here, but we continue on to 2, 3, and then 4. So this is about 2 deformation cycles. If we were to plot the CTOD measure, physically measured from the size of the specimen versus the remotely applied strain, this is the type of behavior that you will see. If you look very carefully, there is a mistake that we made here. That is, we went a little too far in the application of the deformation, the remotely applied deformation, to the point where you see there is increase in CTOD and no increase in strain. That means that we were getting to some kind of limit capacity of the specimen itself. So we should have stopped the test a little before. But I'm showing you what we have. So now, applying the model that I just mentioned, this is the type of agreement that we have. In blue, as I showed you before, experimental results. In red, this model that we just presented. We believe that the difference, of course, is there, but it's not so bad. In fact, we are pretty happy, particularly including the fact that we have run into this problem that I mentioned before. In both cases, there is some kind of extra elongation, if you want, in terms of CTOD here that should not be there. So we feel pretty comfortable with this type of agreement. And we want to say that agreement between the predict and measure CTOD values is decent or very good. And that allows us to continue on to the second part of this, because so far the only thing that we have done is to see the evolution of the applied CTOD. We have not said anything yet about how the crack grows in the first cycle or in the second cycle. To do that, the other thing that we need to do, as I said, is to take a look at the resistance curve evolution. And we see there are 2 extreme cases. The one, if you want, history-independent resistance curve. This is the one that people have been using in the past, since they have not done all this. They basically said if I have one cycle, I apply the Jaeger curve concept, and I determine how much the crack grows at the end of that cycle, the maximum of that cycle. If I unload, come back up again, I forget completely what happened in the first cycle, I move the resistance curve to the new origin, because the crack is a little longer, and reapply the same process again. So I'm shifting the resistance curve every time, forgetting completely what happened before. That's why I call it history-independent resistance curve. That's one extreme case. The other extreme case is, well, I don't know if it's extreme, but the other one that we can select is what we call material memory resistance curve. And that basically is exactly, this is more or less the opposite. That is, the R curve does not shift to the new origin. So if you have one cycle, you have some growth, you come down in load, and you will have more extension only if you exceed with the CTOD the previously reached value. If you do, then you will have some crack extension, but that crack extension is given by the resistance curve itself, a point at the very first origin. I'm trying to show you this now. This is the first of the 2 cases, the material, the independent, history-independent curve. You have the one applied CTOD, this is the resistance curve. From there you can read off how much delta A1 you have for the first cycle. You unload, you come up again. If you go to a CTOD 2, you will have this much of crack extension. So you are adding crack extensions as if you didn't have anything before. Whereas the material memory resistance curve is somehow like plasticity, more or less, in the sense that you have to get to the same value that you were before you can extend the envelope. So that means that you go to some CTOD, you have the same crack extension as before, but when you unload and you go to a second CTOD, the one that you have in terms of extension is only this much. So this is the same as saying that if you have a second cycle in which the CTOD is bigger than the first one, you can sort of forget the first cycle completely, and you will have the total crack extension given by the maximum CTOD of the 2. We also ran an experimental program to determine this, And basically this is a little busy slide, but bear with me and we go over it hopefully successfully. We look at this one here first, well metal. I'm going to show you just two samples, although we run more than that, A and B. Let's look at A. In the first cycle we got to a CTOD of 1.1, all quantities are in millimeters by the way, and the delta A was 0.8 for that. In the second cycle we went to 1.4 and the crack extension for that cycle was 0.49. And for example B, you can see these numbers here. Okay, you can complete the table for the rest, but I prefer to show you the slide. This is the first of the two materials that I show you, CTOD versus crack extension. A1 is what you have in crack extension for sample A in the first cycle. You have applied a CTOD of about 1.1, and then you apply a CTOD of 1.4 about, and you get this much of crack extension, A2. And the same thing for B. Now, if you put on top of that the resistance curve that you got from multiple specimens, but we got only one cycle each time, then of course the curve goes through the first cycle crack extension levels, because the specimen didn't know that you were going to put another cycle. So this is okay. But what do you do with all this? How can you put a rule that says how much extension you will have in the second cycle? So as I said, if you add together the two, that is at the maximum CTOD, you add how much you got for this one and how much you get for this one, so you will move this point towards the right, and the same thing here, B1 and B2, you add the two crack extension levels for both and put it at the level of the second CTOD. And if you do that, this is what you have. This is the A total and this is the B total. In other words, as I said before, what we are doing here is precisely that. We are showing experimentally that this is what happens. If you have one CTOD at one level, you have some crack extension, you put another CTOD second cycle, the amount of crack extension is only this much. If I were to plot this much with this CTOD, I will have a point like here. But if I add the two together, I will put it on top of the resistance curve. So in other words, I can use the resistance curve with these rules to see how much crack extension I get in the first and second cycle. The same thing goes for the other material. It's a little busy, but basically it's the same. When I put everything in terms of the total crack extension, in the three cases, you get pretty much an agreement with the points and the curve. So, in short, regarding the resistance curve evolution, points obtained at the end of the second cycle in terms of the CTOD fell on the resistance curve, provided the total delta A is used instead of delta A2. The whole amount of crack extension is accounted for by the resistance curve. Only two cycles, please remember that. No fatigue effects were observed. Again, only two cycles. Okay? Obviously, if we put more cycles, sooner or later the fatigue will come in. The material memory resistance curve criterion was validated by the experimental data for up to 2 cycles for this material. Now, multiple reading cycles. As I said, contingency installation conditions, weather, etc., may require that the line be retrieved and reinstalled. So imagine we put the pipe to the higher deformation and then release it to the second, smaller cycle. But if we have to retrieve it, we have the line going again through the smaller deformation, the larger deformation, and then when we start it again, another smaller deformation. So we go from 2 to now 5 cycles, 5 deformation cycles, and if we repeat that, we keep on adding 3 each time. So we can have a pretty complicated history of deformation cycles, so about 10 or 12 is not very uncommon. In this case then, what we need to do is to include the fatigue part. So what we are going to do is simply follow the idea that some other people also use. That is a model that combines the tearing and fatigue formulation. And for the fatigue part, we are going to use the delta J range to calculate the crack extension due to that. Again, remember we are going to use also the idea that tearing contributes to crack extension in the first cycle only, except that if you see subsequent cycles, the crack driving force exceeds the previously reached value. Well, this is very easy and familiar for you. We are going to do delta J, proposed by Darwin and Begley many years ago. Delta J has an elastic and plastic part. It's important to realize that this is not just a difference between the two. And for the elastic part, it's easy enough to calculate, so I'm not going to take too much time here. And if you want to use an area approach, you are familiar with this experimental way. J is usually eta over BB times the area under load displacement record, or plastic part, say, we are talking about the plastic part. So now if you have this test record going from 0 to this point, unloading, and back up again to the same point, the delta J is related now to delta P, delta B, which means basically it has to be associated with this whole area over here. And basically we sort of use the same idea of the Paris fatigue law, except that we alter a little bit the constants to have it in terms of delta J instead of delta K. We also are using the closure effect that is probably known to everybody. That is, during part of the loading cycle, the crack surface coming into contact, crack is considered closed in this stage. Of course, there is a difference between opening and closure, but let's simplify it a little bit. Effective load range, delta P effective is P max minus P opening, and this is what we use instead of the nominal one. And we simply obtain these formulas for the P opening from the literature. I will mention which. And then, of course, the delta J plastic effective is obtained by simply integrating between the load and the P opening, and of course the delta P plastic. And this is the literature that we got it from, Newman and McClung. So the load displacement record is modified now, the same as you saw before, except that now you have the P opening someplace, and this is the area that you should consider. We run again some experimental program to see this part. Material is pretty much the same as before. The test, same type of specimens as the standard recommends, single edge notch in tension, and the specimens were subjected to tension and compression cycles. I'm going to show you only two examples of the many we ran, showing CTOD measured as before, physically more like a delta 5 versus the remotely applied strain. We went to some value here, and we unloaded to about 0 strain, back and forth, and this is the amount of delta CTOD that we see here, very little. This is the real thing, not based on the formation theory that you will get something like this. If you believe the formation theory, even if you are unloading, the delta CTOD will be all this much. And this is another example of what we did. This is a little extreme, because we went all the way in negative terms, in terms of strain, as we did in positive, which is really completely crazy, but just to see what happened. And we did take a very bold approach. Basically, after doing all these cycles, we measured the total amount of crack extension, complete total amount. We subtracted from this delta A total the one that we obtained from tearing, that is from the resistance curve, and the difference between the two, we call it delta A fatigue, because we are considering the linear addition of these two models. It is simplistic, but it is the best we could do at this moment. And basically, after we had this delta A coming from fatigue, we divide that by n minus 1, number of cycles minus 1. We decide that the first one is only tearing, the others contribute with fatigue, although I said before that even with 2, you didn't see fatigue, but just for the case, the sake of being conservatism, we put that cycle in there too. And this is basically the type of result that we got in terms of the dA/dN versus delta J effective, as I mentioned before, using the crack closure effect and so on. This is a best fit line, except that it comes from the British standard 7910, so it's really not the best fit line. It's the one coming from the standard, applicable for R bigger than 0.5. That means when we consider the log cycle is complete or completely open, if you prefer. The opening is lower than the mean, so this is basically good for the whole cycle, which is consistent with using delta J effective. So we were pretty surprised to see this. There are some points that are not quite conservative. The line is not quite conservative. So some people suggested that you may take one standard or two standard deviations from that line just to make sure that you are on the conservative case. So, crack extension during multiple plastic strain cycle was modeled based on fatigue formulation, and the elastic plastic conditions fatigue crack growth was described by the use of the cyclic J. Of course, J effective, as you say. Linear addition of tearing and fatigue was considered, closure effects was taken into account, and cyclic tests were performed to determine the crack extension due to multiple strain cycles. Now we have a model that presumably can give you the total crack extension with tearing and an arbitrary and small, about no more than 10, say, cycles. I said that we need, the last thing that I mentioned in this program is to give some sensitivity of the material variability. So what we did with this is to run a full probabilistic fracture mechanics approach with everything that I said before. The deterministic approach, as you very well know, is performed for single value parameters. If I give you the material properties, the geometry of the pipe, the cycles, the history, and so on, you should be able to tell me with this model how much crack extension you have. Except that each of these parameters that I give you, material parameters, do have a statistical distribution, not just single value. So material properties and geometry parameters have specific statistical distribution, and this needs to be solved in some way. Not solved, but giving some idea of the influence. So what we did is to develop a method based on fracture mechanics and Monte Carlo simulations, and using as input the statistical distribution of these parameters, typically using a 2-parameter Whitewood distribution for each of these. Basically what we do is pretty obvious, is we include there, as I said, all the statistics. We sort of throw the dice, if you may like to say, and with that we came up with a vector, as you said, and the problem is solved for each specific vector using a deterministic model. Then you repeat that 10,000 times, or however number of cases you have the patient to wait, and you solve the problem this number of times. Just for you to remember, what we are doing is using the material resistance curve. I go back to J, but of course we can put that in terms of the CTOD, using the standards, which means that you can fit your experimental data with 3 parameters, M, L, and X. Sometimes you use 2 only, depends on what you want, but you can do both. The crack driving force, or CTOD, we can also put in terms of CTOD, is proportional to the yield, the Young modulus, the parameters with parameters alpha, n, and so on, the load, the geometry, and so on, and the fatigue law, 2 constants. So here, the input variables for the statistical model, as I said, are the 3, M, L, and X from the material actor, the 3 for the tensile behavior of the material, the parameter equation, Y, N, and alpha, and we are taking as an example C prime, which is the constant from fatigue law. We are keeping the exponent fixed. There are some equations that can give you the Carnot exponent, connects the Carnot exponent and alpha with the Y and T, that is the ultimate, which is typically what you get from the mill. Okay? The plant gives you pairs of Y and T, that's what they have usually, and they have not run for each case the complete load stress strain curve. So with all that, the output of the model should be critical initial defect size distribution, final defect size distribution, amount of crack extension, and if you want the cumulative probability of failure, which is defined as the probability of failure of a given defect size, assuming that this defect is there. Okay, I said if I have a defect so big I'd like to know what is the probability due to the variability of the parameters that this defect failed. So with this, the assumptions made, as well, I don't want to repeat everything about the material memory R curve, because it is the whole methodology. We run a particular case, a material, again the same material as before, the material property is the same as before. The fracture toughness given by this equation that we measure experimentally, and we put there a standard deviation of 10%, because usually you don't have so many resistance curves to have a real statistical measurement of them, so we have to invent here a number of 10%, whereas for the other parameters we did have some realistic numbers. And the same thing for the fatigue law. So with all that, we simulated drilling conditions of 0, about 2%, minus 0.3, 2%, minus 0.3. This is what we call, some people call this one drilling cycle, composed of two deformation cycles, and of course the possibility of running also several drilling cycles. And as you will see, this is the result of all that, of all what I said. This is the critical defect depth, initial, that is, you see here the distribution that comes out of the model with a standard deviation of 0.14 millimeters. This is the cumulative probability of that, and if you want to see that in a better scale, this is what it looks like. Just to make things a little more clear, and as I many times said, even if you didn't understand too much or anything of what I said, doesn't matter if you look carefully at the next 2 or 3 slides. If you have a defect depth of A scale and a defect length to C in the horizontal axis, these lines will give you, in this case, the 50% probability of survival for this material and this history of deformation, and this other one 95%. Okay, this is the combination, millimeters versus millimeters, so no J, CTOD, Paris law, delta J, anything like that. This is the result that we come up with. If we want to see how the number of reeling cycles, remember reeling cycle is composed of 2 deformation cycles, so number of reeling cycles, 1 here, again is A versus 2C, 1 reeling cycle. If you now put 2 reeling cycles, this of course is 50, I should have said this, 50% probability survival. You come up with this other curve for 4, and this other curve for 8. Of course, the more cycles you put in, the closer you get to the origin, obviously. If you want to take a look at 95% probability, the same trend is there. This is just to illustrate the possibilities that we have with this whole method, that by the way we have put in a program that is in a disk, so that is something that you can put in your own PC and run very quickly. Well, not very quickly because it's yet not so efficient, particularly that in Monte Carlo simulation. Well, in summary, for a Turing, analytical model was proposed to determine CTOD as function of strength history. The agreement is reasonably good. The material memory seems to be adequate for resistance curve. Amount of crack extension after 2 cycles seems to be completely accounted for the resistance curve without fatigue effect. If we put more cycles, of course, crack extension during multiple cycles was modeled based on a fatigue formulation. Delta J was used, or delta J effective, and the crack closure was taken into account. The probabilistic part, we developed this probabilistic approach. The program input includes applied strength history, statistical distribution of the material property variables, and geometry. I will show this example, but of course you can play games to see the sensitivity of any of these parameters. The main program output are the statistical distribution of critical crack size and the cumulative probability, and a self-contained software tool containing this procedure is there, available. In general then, the methodology to assess the integrity of pipes related to single or multiple reading cycles taking into account the statistical distribution was proposed. This procedure was based on stable theory, fracture mechanics approach. I should say plastic collapse also, which I will mention, and a fatigue formulation with the Monte Carlo, and it was applied to a test case. I have to say also that Tenaris was part of the so-called JIP, Joint Industrial Project, where many other companies like Exxon, another big Total, other big companies intervened, together with the Southwest Research Institute of San Antonio, where they did full-scale tests of this. Okay, that is about 30 full-scale tests of this type of defects, and we have to say that still we are working in putting together the data, but in principle the agreement is reasonably good with all this methodology, which is pretty much shared by the Southwest people. Well, I have to say something about the recommendations. That of course the main recommendation is improve on everything. That means we did close the circle, the valve is light now, but of course we need to improve on each and every of the little pieces that we put together here. The model for the CPOD, we just ran some examples, we were pretty happy, but of course I'm sure you can imagine many ways of testing these two extremes, loading, unloading, etc., that may not be so good. The business of resistance curve evolution, if you start including tearing with fatigue, one very high cycle and then the other smaller cycle and so on, you start getting into the overloads effects and so on, which were not taken into account in a way by this approach. We didn't take that into account in the fatigue, obviously nor in the resistance evolution. So fatigue with large deformation cycles including closure also needs a little bit of a better understanding, particularly when the cycles are so big and the amount of track extension is also so big for these cases. As I said, tearing fatigue, the interaction model is specifically open for improvement, I say, including the overload. The linear connection or the linear addition is not probably the best in the world. There are, when the fatigue part is very small compared to the other, in the transition, say, I'm sure there are better ways to improving this. And of course, the statistical approach, this is for you, my friend, there are some problems with extremes. We are making some conclusions or drawing some conclusions of how things are at the extremes when we don't have, of course, enough data. We are simply taking some kind of, as I mentioned before, a cumulative probability case based on what we see after so many trials, but of course we are interested in looking at this area, not so much at this one here. With that, I want to close, and again, thank you very much for having me here.